For years in the Netherlands and across a lot of Europe, there have been so many different rail lines that have been created using the public-private partnership model, also known as P3. Unlike Europe, though the United States is certainly not considered a developing country, it did not have an operating commuter rail that was a public-private partnership until 2016. The first P3 commuter rail in the U.S. is located in Denver, Colorado, and exists because of the Strategic Transportation Plan Fast Tracks. In order for this public-private partnership to operate, creating plans to facilitate its operation was incredibly important to develop. But what is more important to understand is, how exactly did the Denver metropolitan area accomplish creating an urban plan to allocate for the first P3 commuter rail, and also, has this plan set out to connect communities and provide choice, created urban justice for the city of Denver and its surrounding areas? This video seeks to provide insight into how the Fast Tracks plan, in the opinion of many urban professionals, serves as an exemplary approach to many concepts we've learned about in USP. Going back quite a few years to 1994, the Regional Transportation District, or RTD, the public transportation provider in Denver, added its first light rail line in the heart of the city. Following quick success and ridership of the first light rail in the city, many people wanted to expand the light rail to other areas outside of the main city center to include the metropolitan region. But when many minds came together to explore what this would look like, RTD came up with a preliminary initiative to create a plan that included a 36.5-kilometer commuter rail that linked Denver to the Denver International Airport and lower-income communities that are located in the east area of Denver, 28 kilometers of new light rail lines to the southwest and north of the city, redevelopment of Denver's Union Station to become a mixed-use placemaking space and transit hub, which was originally used for mostly Amtrak trains until the late 1990s, and a 43-kilometer bus rapid transit route from Denver to Boulder. With these lofty goals in mind and the amount of distance that these various ideas covered, RTD developed a strategic plan for the next 12 years in the region. This draft required that the region vote on a sales tax increase that would pay for various portions of the project. The strategic plan draft was finished in 2004, and then the referendum was added to the 2004 voting ballot around the region for people to vote on the sales tax increase. Here are some clips of what commercials looked like at the time to help voters learn that they should be in favor of the tax increase, but also some coverage of what happened following the passing of the sales tax increase in the eyes of stakeholders that worked on the project.
If you vote yes on 4A and the Fast Tracks plan, it could change the way you start your day. It could change how you get to the airport and the game, and open a new door to the city. Fast Tracks will expand rapid transit throughout the entire metro area and suburbs. So why stay stuck in the past when you can move smoothly into the future? Fast Tracks. The time is now.
Are about to close in 6 seconds from now.
By election day, a lot of our polling had shown that the measure was probably going to pass. So we spent that election day writing 2 stories, but I spent more time writing the one that presumed that it passed than the one that it didn't, because you don't want to have one of those Dewey defeats Truman moments, you know.
Arnie Bjorkman and Wendy Broughton.
It was pretty nerve-wracking. I just couldn't wait until 7 o'clock came and the polls closed and we would begin to get the tallies in.
And I was at the DUS station during when the results were coming in, and that's when we were told that the Fast Tracks project had passed.
Big win here tonight for Fast Tracks voters.
There was a big celebration with hundreds of people there.
Oh, it was ecstatic.
It was pretty hot.
That moment was extremely gratifying.
Everyone was cheering and hugging each other. It was just really exciting, and that lasted for several days after that.
We were really happy. It was one of the happiest times of my life, I'm sure.
At the end of all the yelling and screaming, I thought, I hadn't been this hoarse since college when I was at a party screaming.
It was a confirming moment, but finally we had buy-in from the public that said that they believed in kind of what we as an organization believed in, and that was the future of mass transit in the area.
As the various stakeholders took a risk in making the plan a reality and had varying interdependencies for each other, this meant that trust, of course, existed in the stakeholder network for the P3. But once the plan was voted on, it was important that RTD and the various stakeholders involved in the strategic plan had to continue their relationship of trust to give the people of Denver what they voted for, a way to connect communities together and provide access for all in the city through transit. Because the public had trusted the stakeholder network and the P3, it was important that stakeholders deliver what they set out to do and make sure that ultimately people were happy with the outcomes of the plan. As time went on, the public was given access to forms, videos, and telephone town halls like this one.
Good evening, and thank you for joining tonight's telephone town hall hosted by the Regional Transportation District.
To provide their input on the progress of the Fast Tracks plan, or to provide ideas for how to develop existing outcomes of the plan. This reflects the collaborative governing and planning approaches. Fast forward to the recent present, 2016, and most phases of the project have been completed. In its first year of being open, the new rails saw over 5 million passengers and approximately 17,000 passengers per day. And the regeneration of the old city's Union Station created a space for people to congregate and live, or a placemaking space for the city. For a city with a 2.4% population growth per year, this improves the urban living conditions associated with congestion and pollution to create an urban space that is not only sustainable and accessible, but also livable. But unfortunately, this story is not 100% exemplary. Every year that the project took place from 2004 to the present, stakeholders have pushed back dates for operation. All of these projects in the initial Fast Tracks plan that was published in 2004 were supposed to be finished in 12 years, or by 2016. Not all projects have been finished, and it's 2018. As well, though the plan helps to connect those that are generally excluded or disconnected from society in low-income areas of the city, reflecting the ideals of urban justice, many portions of the rail lines touching generally lower-income communities show low ridership since the lines have opened. So you have to wonder, is the plan potentially committing a cardinal injustice by unequally allocating resources over space in these communities? Is there a better way to make the resources more accessible to those that are disadvantaged? Though I plan to truly research this more in depth during our thesis period, I administered a quick survey and distributed it via social media to see what preliminary data I could conduct regarding how people feel about the outcomes of this project thus far and how it has impacted their own individual lives. Within a few short days, 128 people in the Denver metropolitan region, living in 4 of the 7 counties where RTD operates, responded to the survey ranging from 29 to 65 years old. While the majority of people surveyed felt as though they personally benefited from the sales tax increase that they had to pay in order to create these projects, still a large majority said they did not feel as though they personally benefited from it. And when respondents were asked if the projects themselves, not the tax increase, benefited someone they know or themselves individually, most responded that the project had benefited them or someone they know, but there's still quite a few respondents that felt as though the project had not benefited them. As well, only 128 people responded of a region of over 3 million people, meaning that likely the data is inconclusive. As well, people only responded from 4 of the 7 counties, and 3 of the counties I did not get any respondents from, more specifically Adams County and Broomfield County, have residents that reside in these regions that have lower incomes than the general metropolitan region. These counties also have more minority populations living inside of them, such as African Americans or Hispanics. But even though this data is likely inconclusive and people from generally underrepresented communities did not respond to the survey, people still had these things to say about accessibility in their communities. After such a lofty project, some of these neighborhoods are still suffering serious weaknesses in resources and ways that they can voice how they truly feel about what they've been given by the Fast Track project. While justice does not necessarily have to mean absolute equality, it is important in a society to make as many opportunities as possible accessible to others. While of course getting from point A to point B is likely one of the first things that is considered when creating a transportation project, it is also important to think about inclusivity and creating innovative projects for all walks of life. As I stated before, while many urban professionals think that the Fast Tracks plan serves as an exemplary approach for a public-private partnership, maybe this point of view only lies in the eyes of urban professionals. But with a project like this, it is also important to analyze the justice, power, and opportunities it brings to people.